Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another review, and do you remember the Gundam F90 A to Z project? Me neither, but I just dug this right here out of the old backlog. This is the Mission Pack DType and G-Type, and as you can tell from the color of that box right there, this is premium Bandai only, so that means I got this from those awesome people over at BUYEE. So if you want some premium Bandai or hard to get kits of your own, that's where I get them. You can too, and link is down there in the description. So this right here is where the Gundam F90 was the last time I took a look at it. This right here, this big old pack with the wings around back is the, I assume, Type W. It's the Warbird. And this, to this date, is probably still my favorite one of these packs, but it's time for this to come off. This is the one I was actually displaying it with. And man, I have to say, no matter what I do with this kit, the premium Bandai whites, it's the same on this kit, just like the Dragon Eye I took a look at a few days ago. They're blindingly white and they really play havoc with the camera, so it's really hard to get this nice and clear without, well, it losing all the detail. It's mad. Anyway, let's get it stripped down. So yeah, I haven't any of this built yet whatsoever, but these kits don't come with a whole lot inside of the box. They are just a little bit of an expansion for using with the Gundam F90 back there. Usually they're compatible with the F92 as well. In here we've got some effects, some water slides, see some stickers, and it's just 2 bags of runners and 1 little ball. Anyway, this looks simple, and the main event in here is a absolutely massive sword. It's gonna look a little something like that right there. Let's get it built. So finally, once you get everything built inside of this box right here, this is what you get. This is the full spread. So in here we do have 2 different loadouts for using with the Gundam F90. Once again, you could probably use these with the Gundam F92, but for today we're just going to be trying them with the 90. Now, first off in here we're going to be attaching on the D-type equipment. The D stands for destroyed. I assume it means destroy. I'm guessing you don't want to be destroyed, Mr. Gundam F90. But anyway, this is what it should look like. Let's get it attached. So the first piece of equipment we have in here is the 4-tube grenade rack. We've got 2 of these. So when it comes to the actual pieces, these are quite simple. It's just a bunch of parts stuck together, which I guess gunpla usually is, but there is some stickers used on these. Now there's not much stickers in this kit, we've just got 5 in total. These 2 just strip off, stick on like so onto both of these. And then we do have a moving grenade segment right here that can pivot at that point. This one can pivot up and down too. This one is double barreled. And the top one, that one is fixed in place. So these pop up onto the hard points up on the shoulder, just like so. There's the one. Popping on number 2, just like so. They hold on nice and perfect. Next up in here, we've got 5 tube missile packs. That's red missiles in the front, I assume. The rear segment is in white, and the assembly of these is quite simple. Nothing about these is particularly master grady. There's no internal frame or anything like that. There is one interesting aspect I'll mention in a second, but besides that, they're just a simple assembly. I will mention we do have a pretty wicked mold line right down the edge of this, which will take a little while to clean up, but it won't be the worst, but it is quite wicked. These attach onto the 4 arms, just like so, once again into some hard points. There's the first one. Slide them over. There is number 2. Once again, these hold on nice and perfect. And this is the same F90 I've been using for, well, every single one of these videos so far. And this is a fantastic kit. It's holding up so well. Next up then in here, we've got a pair of high mobility boosters. The kind you'd see on the side of a Zaku's leg. A high mobility Zaku. Once again, this attaches together all the similar kind of way we've seen so far with stuff. Ooh, there goes my camera. Drooping, drooping, drooping. So yeah, if you ever wanted to know why I film at this angle a lot, it's because my tripod sucks. But yeah, the build of this is quite nice. There is a lot of nice internal detail on this. You do have quite a few verniers to cut out and stick on, but this is a very nice little unit. So yeah, that thing I totally went off topic about, which was the random detail on these that is quite random. That is this. There is wires molded into the 3mm pegs on this. That is interesting. Even on the shoulder parts with the grenade tubes that are attached up here, if you pop those off and take a peek in there, we've got those interesting little wires in the 3mm peg. Now that is unnecessary detail, and unnecessary detail I think is awesome. So as for attaching on the high mobility boosters, that's very simple. You just pop them as you'd expect, into the hard points on the sides of the legs, and these hold on ever so nicely and match with the original unit perfectly. The next pieces of equipment we have now are some weapons. These are referred to as MS Crackers, which is mobile suit crackers, and I assume they do exactly what, well, they say on the tin, and crack mobile suits. I assume they're a pair of kind of bombs or grenades. They attach on there, looking a little bit like old-timey pirate ship wheels. So they do, kind of. Paint them brown and woody. Next up then in here we've got the Gatling gun. Now this isn't the most fantastic Gundam Gatling gun I've ever seen. There's quite a seam line up top there, and it's very, well, pansy-ish looking. I guess when it comes to later in the UC, maybe weapons can be minimized and be better, but ooh, skinny. Anyway, a bit of a comment on the putting together of this. It's quite simple to put together. The little bit of a belt segment that runs from, I assume, the power source to the actual Gatling gun that is mildly flexible. Not very flexible, mildly flexible plastic. It's a little bit rubbery, but not too rubbery. When this actually puts together, it just kind of hangs out inside of the capacitor or the ammo pack thing there. And I mean, like, nothing's holding it in there at all except the pressure when you put together, and it's still kind of knocking around in there. Then you put together the two parts that make up the 4 barrels on this. I will mention it does spin if you want to spin it. There's an example of the spinny action. So to attach this, you just flip it around. We're going to be sticking it into the butt flap back there. We need to open up all of those little grabby segments. That is 1 and 2 and number 3. So partly we are meant to bend this and flop it off to the right hand side like so. And by right hand side, I mean the left hand side. There we go. And then this just pops in there. Oh wait, we've got a peg. So it just pegs on in there, then attaches onto the side. And by side, I mean rear. Skirting armor, just like so. And then we can close up those grabby little segments one more time. So now jumping into the full 360 spin of what the Gundam F90 DType looks like once it's fully assembled. Now I will mention all the covers for the hard points that are not in use right now, as well as the backpack, are not available to me at the moment because I've packed away all of my stuff and it isn't accessible to me right now. But hopefully that'll come to an end soon so I can have everything available all of the time. Anyway, jumping over to the wiki to what it says about the DType or the destroyed type right here. What it says is the DType is designed to overpower the enemy's main force and has high mobility as well as heavy firepower. Its typical operating pattern involves attacking the enemy's main force base, then engaging in close range combat to mop up the remaining enemy units. Its mobility is heightened thanks to the booster packs on its legs, while its heavy firepower is provided by the large number of close combat firearms such as Gatling gun, crackers, grenades, and rockets. So there you go, that is what the DType is all about, the high mobility boosters on the legs to get on in there. The Gatling, crackers, rockets, and grenades are just for unloading on the enemy forces. So that's a pretty cool loadout. So when it comes to the actual model kit right here, when it comes to the articulation, etc., this doesn't really do a whole lot. For example, the Gatling gun itself, this can kind of pivot on the peg it attached on side to side, but the kind of flexible but not quite flexible belt on it stops it from staying in any position. Also on top of that, the weaponry, like up on the arms, those missile tubes, they don't rotate or move or anything. Same with the grenade launchers up on the shoulders, they don't move out to the front or anything, so I guess they can only fire up and to the side. And yeah, the Gatling, that can't pivot up and down either. So all of these weapons don't seem like they'd be actually any use whatsoever without this thing literally somersaulting and flipping all around the place, which I assume it does with the mobility boosters on the legs, so I guess that's a moot point. Just spin, somersault, and fire everywhere. So anyway, now it's time to move on to the next pack, and I was going to say detaching these is simple enough, but these lock on good and strong. Be careful while removing those, you don't want to wreck any of the hard points. I don't think that's really going to happen. This thing is rock solid, everything, all the plastic is just hard wearing feeling, and this is one workhorse of a mobile suit, which is exactly what the F90 is meant to be. So the next pack in here is the G pack, which stands for the guard pack, which mainly I assume is to do with this shield right here, and sword too. We've got some beam effects as well, and this odd shoulder thingy that I don't know what it does yet, but I'm about to find out. So the first big shoulder shield right here, this is very, very nice. This attaches on in the same way that everything has so far onto the shoulder like that. That I like a lot. Over on the other shoulder, we've got this gizmo, which I still don't know what it is. It just kind of looks like a sight, but it's pointing off a funny direction. And probably the coolest thing inside this box is this multiple beam weapon. Now, I will mention, this is it in rifle mode. We have a barrel down that end. It does transform to a sword mode, but this does require a energy pack that comes with the normal Gundam F90, which I don't have handy, and that actually attaches on here, coming out in a really cool sort of way. I'll pop an image up right now so you can see what that should look like. And then this can also be used in sword mode, by actually just seamlessly sliding up like this, which is very cool. The build of this is quite simple. That little segment just slots on in between the two sword aspects, and this just works out really, really well. Finally, then there is a big old beam effect, which just, it doesn't attach onto that side, attaches onto it just like that right there, looking nice and vigorous. This is one nice sword. Oh, and now I finally know what this is. It says it in the instructions. That is for just attaching the sword on up like so when it is not in use. So that is handy, and that is pretty cool and looks a little bit on the cumbersome side. Anyway, back to the full 360 spin of the G-Type, and I love the layout and the colors on this. The extra pop of red on the shield as well as the sword looks very, very nice, and that shield, damn, I really love that big blocky design. So once again, jumping over to the wiki to get the blurb about what this particular pack is all about. It says, a mission pack for the F90 Gundam F90 that gears it for added defense for security and escort missions. It is intended for guarding bases and escorting motherships. It has two types of large armaments attached to the hardpoints in its shoulders, a large multiple beam weapon on its right shoulder, and a large shield that covers its upper body on its left shoulder. So there you go, it's essentially just a sword and a shield, which is a very cool loadout. Guard and attack, the absolute basics, and I think this looks so good. I think this might have actually replaced the Warbird pack as my favorite pack. It's so simple, so effective. And once again, I do apologize. All those hard points should be covered. The backpack should be on. There should be a capacitor on there too, but that is all packed away, hopefully to be unboxed sometime in the near future. So as for what this can actually do, the shield can disconnect out ever so well, not like that. Anyway, the shield, it can actually disconnect out ever so slightly like so into an unlocked position. When it is unlocked like this, you're able to open it up and out like so and back down like this. So you get yourself a little bit of articulation. So the sword on this side can actually rotate on this point right here. I assume it can be shot from the shoulder because it is a beam rifle as well. So that would be super handy. It disconnects like so. We might as well get started in the beam rifle mode. So you just give this a slide back into position just like so. Popping it into the hands is a little on the awkward side because you kind of have to get it just right in there and it kind of holds in with pressure. And I totally don't have the actual hands you're meant to be using for this right now. You're meant to be using the trigger finger with this, but I'm using the standard holding hand. It can hold it, but it is a little bit wiggly. A little bit. So there's a bit of an example of what it looks like attached into the hand in the rifle mode. So this is kind of, in essence, a little bit like, well, XCSGN sword, but instead of being bladey, which I assume you could actually throw the blade on while it's like this. Actually, on that note, I'm gonna pop that on. There goes those fingers. Yeah, there's the effects still attached while it's in the kind of extended rifle mode, and I don't see why you couldn't just do that. Anyway, to transform that, then you just slide that on up just like so. Oh, lost those fingers again. It's seamless to do, but the hands are a little bit on the flimsy side, so you're best off removing it, then reattaching it once it's done. And anyway, there it is, held in the hand as a sword, and this is just one big feckin' sword. What can I say? It looks astounding. The blue and the red bounce off each other perfectly, the blue on the effects, the red down there, which is an additional handle for using it in two hands at once. This thing is absolutely ridiculous. It is massive, and this combined with that shield on the shoulder is my favorite loadout for the Gundam F90 yet. This is so cool. So yeah, if you want one of your own, the link will be down there in the description. You can get yours through BUYEE. That's where I got mine. Whether you want it for using with your Gundam F90, your Gundam F90 2, or even just for grabbing for using with some custom gunpla. There's some cool stuff in here. Those boosters from the legs, that massive sword, the shield, these could be used pretty much in any build with a little bit of ingenuity. Anyway, as always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to come back for more gunpla reviews, and I'll see you next time.